Hey everyone, for today's video I wanted to share my thoughts on two of my favorite annuals for hot, sunny, and dry areas, which are of no shortage here in the high mountain valleys of Utah, especially in the summer, and especially with the summer that we've had this year, with a significant amount of that time spent in the hundreds. Anyway, these two annuals that I want to talk to you about are stellar performers. They thrive in the heat, in the full sun, and they can even tolerate they're even drought tolerant. That's what I'm trying to say here. So they don't require a tremendous amount of water once they're established. So let's get to it. The first one that I'd like to talk to you guys about is Profusion Zinnias. What you see here is the yellow variety. That's simply what it's called, Profusion Zinnia Yellow. Profusion Zinnias are a cross between the common Zinnia elegans and Zinnia angustifolia. And it is a shorter version, a mounding version. They get about 16 to 18 inches tall, and they can get up to 24 inches wide. And this one has probably gotten about that wide, so it's looking pretty good. The reason I like these is they look tidy to me. They don't get overgrown and they don't get long and gangly. They stay kind of tight and compact. But as you can see, this is out here on my driveway, surrounded by concrete, and it doesn't seem to mind a bit. They don't require a tremendous amount of water once they're established, a lot less than most annuals actually, and they just perform. It blooms its little head off all year long, especially as the days start to get shorter in the later summer, and they just look great. You can't beat them. You don't have to deadhead them. And if you can see, the bees kind of love them. They've kind of left since I've gotten out here, but typically they're covered with some bees. So Profusion Zinnias, they're excellent in mass plantings all together, or you can just plant them, dot them around in your annual border like I've done here. They come in a myriad of colors: peaches, yellow, pinks. There's a couple of varieties. There's this one right here is looking a little washed out and sad, but this one's called cherry. There's even some varieties that are doubled. The blooms have twice the amount of petals, so two to three layers of petals. They're not a full double, but they're pretty ruffly and fluffy, but just great annuals. You almost can't beat them for coverage, heat and drought tolerance, and performance. Can't say enough about them. They're always a go-to. I include them every year. The second annual I wanted to talk to you guys about is annual Vinca, botanical name Catharanthus rosea, also known as Madagascar periwinkle. And like the zinnias, it loves the heat, it loves the full sun, and it's drought tolerant once established. I like it for a number of reasons. One is that for a drought tolerant plant, it has really supple looking foliage. The green foliage here it's shiny, it looks supple. It doesn't look like a drought tolerant plant to me, and so I like it for that. I also like that it just blooms its head off. As I mentioned, it's particularly fond of the heat, and when I plant it out here in the early summer, late spring, it kind of lags a little bit for the first few weeks while it's cooler, but once the heat cranks up, it just explodes. And from that point on, the rest of the summer, it looks like this. It comes in a variety of colors, primarily pinks and purples and whites. This variety right here is called lilac, or Titan lilac. It's part of a series called Titan, the Titan series. The white ones are also part of that series. The darker purple one that I planted this year is not in the Titan series, and I'm not in love with it. It's called Blueberry Kiss, and the blossoms open this dark purple, but then they fade to white as the sun washes them out. And to me, it just makes this plant look tired and washed out. So I may not plant it again. It was a fun experiment though. The Titan series is one of the larger of the Vincas. This one's 16 to 18 inches tall and wide. Some of the other Vincas stay a little bit smaller. And because they're smaller than the Profusion Zinnias, I usually plan for twice the number of Vinca as I plant Profusion Zinnias, and that'll give me kind of an equal display within my annual borders in the summer. And then they don't get overrun by the zinnias. Now, sometimes the Vinca does get overrun by zinnias, as evidenced by what's happened here in front of my porch. I promise you there are twice as many Vinca in there as there were zinnias, but they have succumbed to the zinnias. And it kind of looks like an overgrown mess. I mean, it still looks nice. It's pretty, but I wish I could see the purple Vinca more. Anyway, I digress. So the Vinca. I have some more down my flower walk here. Yes, that's what I call my sidewalk, the flower walk. And they just do well. They love being against this concrete and the reflective heat. Doesn't bother them at all. Can't say enough about them. So there you go. Annual Vinca and Profusion Zinnias. Two of my favorite summer annuals. While we're out here though, I do want to take a little sidetrack and show you something that I saw as I walked through the garden today, and that is this beast. This is a Coleus. It's part of a series called Main Street, and this one is called Chartres Street. And I might be saying that wrong, but that's what I think it's called. And I've just loved it. I didn't realize they were gonna get this big, 3 feet by 3 feet, and it has done that, every bit that big. What I've most liked about it though is the contrast against the annuals, especially the pinks and the blues. And I've loved how this Truffula Pink Gomphrena has grown up through it and kind of pops up through, as well as the Victoria Blue Salvia. I really think it's been kind of a stellar display. I have planted this Coleus all over my yard. It's in part sun areas like this east side of my home. It's in full shade areas like back here behind this grass and between the rows, which is fully shaded by my crabapple tree. And I've even planted it in full sun areas. There's one tucked down in there, kind of struggling for life. But I've planted it in my full sun areas as well, like here against the driveway. And it washes out a little bit in the full sun and gets a little tired looking. I need to come deadhead the blossoms, but it has just performed. And that's been surprising to me. There's another one right there. That's surprising to me for a Coleus, that it would perform that well in full sun and really in all the areas that I've given it. So anyway, that's not what this video is about. It was really about Vinca and Profusion Zinnias. So there you go. Two of my favorite annuals for hot, dry, sunny areas. Like I said, they can't be beat. I can't say enough about them. They're go-tos for me. They always perform. They always put on a show. I've never had them look bad. And that's a win for me. If I'm investing in plants, I want to make sure that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And these ones are ones that have my stamp of approval, if that means anything to you. But I like them. So buy yourself some Profusion Zinnias or some annual Vinca next year. Put them in your hottest, driest, sunniest areas in your yard, and you won't be disappointed. I promise.